just reading just a few verses here. I want to say this to the adults also. This is going to be so important to you. I hear the most dedicated Christians throughout the land, because what they see on TV, what they hear on documentaries, they believe life is on other planets. Now, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to have to be real quiet, or I'm going to give it away. But I want you to be here. This is so important, not because I'm preaching it, but in spite of me preaching it. Still, the truth is so important. I want to tell you this, adults, if you can, if you're planning a vacation next week and you're going to leave Saturday or Sunday, can I ask you to do this? This is so important to me. I'm going to tell you, this is so important to me. And you're going to find how important it is to you when you connect the dots to life on other planets with Calvary. If you're going on vacation next week, I'm going to ask you to wait and don't go until after Sunday morning service. If you're going to wait, if you're going to go Friday, if you're going to go, not Friday, but if you're going to go Saturday or Sunday, I ask you to wait till after Sunday morning sermon. And go Sunday afternoon. This is going to be so important. Invite your friends to be here. Your Christian friends from other denominations. Just say, come this Sunday. Our pastor's going to tell you talk to us about life on other planets. And how that is connected to Jesus Christ's death at Calvary. And it's my second in a series of giving to the world information. I don't want to say proof. I don't think I have the ability to just stand flat-footed and say I can prove without the shadow of doubt every simple truth. I can't do that. Not even the smartest people on earth, which I'm not one, but not even the smartest people in the world should stand with an attitude of just saying, I guarantee you, I need you. But I'm going to tell you something. What I'm going to give you next Sunday morning is going to change. It will change Christians' thinking. And the next time you see a documentary on life on other planets, you will have, notice this, you're going to have scientific evidence. Because a lot of documentaries, they go get scientists and they tell them what they want, what they're looking for, and what they hear. And scientists, they can alter and they give suppositions and make you think you're listening to scientific data. I'm going to give you scientific evidence next Sunday and biblical fact on life on other planets and how that's connected to Calvary. I'm going to tell you something. Even for a Christian who's been walking with God all their life, you're going to feel that your faith in God has been greatly fortified. You're going to walk away from this saying, if I've ever had any questions and doubts about God, this has helped me, and it's going to help me believe stronger in Him and help me to love Him. You don't want to miss it next Sunday morning. Let's get back to the message this morning. Jesus said on the eve of His crucifixion, the eve of His trial and before He's crucified, Jesus said, this do, He's talking about Holy Communion, this do in remembrance of me. I want to preach that before we have Holy Communion. Verse 19 of Luke 22. If you found it, could you look up at me and give me your best St. Mark 75th anniversary smile? That's a mouthful, wasn't it? I didn't quite get it right, but there we go. You're wonderful, you're beautiful, and I love you with all my heart. The Bible reads in Luke 22 and 19, and He took bread and gave thanks and broke it and gave it to them, saying, this is my body which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament of my blood, which is shed for you. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goeth as it was determined, but woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. This do in remembrance of me, the Lord Jesus Christ. There are times and opportunities in your life that you need to remember about what God has done at Calvary. There are experiences in life, even when you are a child in this place, a young person, a teenager, needs to remember what Jesus has done at Calvary. When they're going through trials, when they're being
needs to be stamped out. But when a child goes through trials, and you and I know what it is to be remembered, what it is to be a child and a teenager and a young person, and you don't feel like you can speak up for yourself, and you've gone through embarrassing situations, and you've been picked on, and Jesus is saying, even for a child, for a young person, they are to remember what I have done for them. In the midst of all your trials, God's saying, remember. As a young person, remember what I've done for you. Remember when Jesus, on one occasion, he stopped that busy push of his schedule of preaching the gospel, only to stop and to take some children and put them in his arms. So as a young person, when life is being hard on you and circumstances are unfair to you, Jesus is saying, remember what I have done for you. Why? Because twice in this passage, Jesus says, I have shed my blood for you. I have given my body for you. It's for you that Jesus Christ has paid that ultimate sacrifice. The greatest event in all of history is the death and the burial and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And if you're a young person, Jesus is saying, I died for you. And since I died for you, there's nothing I will stop at in doing for you. If you're a person in the mid-years of your life and you feel like things are coming together for you, and yet you've run up against a brick wall and circumstances have been difficult, and there are times that even when the most stable human being that has a little emotional stability and strength about themselves, and they feel like things are going well, their life in a 24-hour short segment can be turned upside down. And Jesus is saying to us adults, remember what I have done for you. I did it for you. And if I died for you, there's nothing else in this world I would stop in being able to get to you and do for you. Paul was coming down to the end of his life, and he said, I fought a good fight. I finished the course. I've run the race. It's about over. I know I'm going to Nero's chopping block. Nothing's going to stop. God intervened when I was in that first imprisonment and Rome, and I was released, but it's not God's will. I'm going to die. People know when their time is up. They just have a sense that I'm going to leave this world. And even a moment like that, why did Paul run the race? Why did he fight the good fight of faith? Why did he finish his course? He did it in remembrance of Jesus. And Jesus said, live your life. Take Holy Communion. Do all that you do in remembrance of me. When I was 14 years old, my Sunday school teacher walked up to me after a Sunday morning service, and he took the Sunday school teacher's book and he put it in my hand, and he said, I want you to teach this next Sunday. I said, Brother Lemons, I can't teach. When I was a child, I stuttered when I got in front of people. And he may come back on me, and I can't teach. He said, Jerry, I believe God wants you to teach the lesson. Do you believe in my life? I said, yes, Brother Lemons. Then I want you to take this book and study it, and you get up and teach it. Son, I'll be in the class. You hit a hard point, just look at me. And he says, I'll have the scriptures in my hand. I'll be able to teach him with that confidence. I took that Sunday school book as a 14-year-old boy, and I went into the junior high class of boys. And it was full every Sunday. And I opened that quarterly, and I had taken notes every day. I trembled. I was scared to death because I had suffered from stage fright. And it affected me to stand in front of people. I wanted to run and hide. But I knew Harry Lemons was a man of God. And I knew Harry said that God spoke to him and said, put a teacher's book in Jerry's hand and let him teach. I knew it had to come from God. So I stood that week, and that Sunday, that next Sunday, I was scared to death. My knees were knocking, my voice was trembling, but the Lord helped me. He helped me, and I didn't even have to look to Brother Lemons, but he still, Brother Lemons, and I got to a point, I said, now we look at the next verse. Brother Hammond said, just to add in a little encouragement. He said, Brother Foley, Brother Jerry, can I say something? I said, oh, yes, teacher. And he started talking, and all of a sudden it brought some things back that I had wanted to write down and had failed to do just out of nervousness. And it brought those things to me. And when he finished, I said, you know that, I think you, Brother Lemons, that's brought some things to my mind. And I'm going to tell you, I never got to finish that lesson. And about 6 months later, Brother Harry Lemons walked up to me and he said, Jerry, I need an assistant in my junior high school boys class. I said, well, I'll help you pray that you get one. He said, I've already prayed and I've got one. I just need him to pray and answer the call of God. And he said, Jerry, I want you to help me. And he said, here's the book. You're going to teach next Sunday. And he said, one Sunday a month, I want you to be ready to teach. Now, Brother Lemons was just a marvelous teacher. I knew I could never, on my best day, do what he's done. But God didn't call me as a 14-year-old boy to be able to stand and do what an experienced Sunday school teacher could do. But God put that book in my hand, and he put it in Harry Lemon's heart to touch my heart, where God would start preparing me to answer a call of serving him in the ministry of the gospel. And for several years, I helped Brother Lemons teach that class until finally God spoke to him and moved him away and put in another adult teacher. But by the time I was 15, I was teaching every other Sunday. So therefore, when I made up my mind, when I was finishing high school, I thought, I'm going to be it looks like I'm going to be a Sunday school teacher as an adult. I think I need some training because I really took my Sunday school teaching serious, and I wanted to be a junior high school history teacher. And I thought maybe I could go to a Bible college and get 2 years of college, and maybe if I could transfer. I don't have the money to go to a big college. And the college, the only place Carol and I could afford to go to was a faith school, Holmes Bible College. They didn't accept a normal tuition, or I couldn't have gone. I didn't have the money. We didn't have the money. I went to a faith school where you gave what you could. That's the only way I got my bachelor's degree. And I was going to go 2 years. And then I was going to come out and get a job and go to night school only when I could afford it. And I wanted to be a junior high school history teacher. We had just, before we went to, it was in my first year Bible college. We were able to get a little living room suite. And it had a love seat and a couch and a high back chair. We were so thankful for that. Just a number of years later, a few years later, we would find a preacher in need, a young preacher in need, and we gave him the couch and the love seat. I kept my trust chair, and I'll tell you why in just a second. I still have that high back chair. And the living room suite we have now, we've had for over 35 years. And it was just a couch. It's just a couch and a love seat. But that high back chair didn't go with it. But I've had to keep that high back chair, and I'll tell you why. We've had it covered that and the couch and the love seat, we've had it all covered 3 different times. And it's durable. It'll be here when Carol and I are gone. If the Lord hasn't come back, whomever gets that living room furniture, if you'll take good care of it, it'll last another lifetime. That stuff is solid. We've taken good care of it. But the reason why I kept that chair is because at the end of those 2 years of Bible college, when I was going to leave and come home, I would get down on my knees in front of the high back chair in that little Bible college duplex where I live. And I'd pray every morning, God, I want to do your will. Help me to be a good junior high school history teacher. And help me, God, to be a faithful faithful Sunday school teacher somewhere. Help me, God. And all of a sudden, the Spirit of God just kept, from that moment, at the end of my second year, when I was getting ready to pack up my things and go back to North Carolina, the Spirit of God says, you can't go. You can't go. You can't go. I've got more for you than teaching Sunday school. I've got more for you than something different from you than teaching Sunday school. Something different from you. Not more in that it's more important. There's nothing more important than being a Sunday school teacher. But I got something different for you. Just keep seeking my face. Stay here at Holmes. Stay here. And within the end of that month, when the school year ended, I knew God had called me to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it was right there, a little trust chair. As long as I live, I'll keep that little high back chair I got in my living room. If I have to cover it another 3 times, it's going to stay right there. It's got to go with me. I got to stay with that chair. Because there is where I met God and I answered His call. Now, today I'm going to a school system. I'm going to a school building. I don't care if it's elementary school, high school. I'm going to high school. I'm going to any kind of school setting. And I just think, my goodness. Oh, it would have been great to have been a teacher. But I couldn't be one because I had to do. Now, you can teach and you can pastor. You can do that. You can do that. And I think I could have done that. I just didn't know how to do that. But I know, regardless of whether I ever got to teach or not, I know I've answered God's call in my heart to be a preacher of the gospel. And in part, I will tell you why I preach. It is in remembrance of what He has done. Gentlemen, could you get in place? And let's get ready to have Holy Communion. It is in remembrance. Every time I preach, it is in remembrance of what Jesus Christ